Welcome to Don't Wait, Just Create, where we motivate you to get off your butts and go make something. How do I get started? How do I make money as a creative? These are a lot of the questions I get asked by different interns and people we talk to, asking me, how did you get your start in the commercial business? How did you start your video production company? How did you start making movies? People ask me these questions a lot, and sadly, there's just no secret sauce. But I'm going to try to break down a couple of bullet points I have, how to get started, how to make money as a creative. Bullet point number 1, get a day job or a side hustle. I know that this sounds counterintuitive. You're sitting here saying, but I don't want to waste my time working at Walmart or Taco Bell or coffee shop. Why I really just want to jump into my creative work and start making money doing that. When you put so much pressure on a creative job right at the beginning, oftentimes the weight can't carry that. And so you start to have your bills pop up, you need to feed your family, you need to feed yourself. And so having that side hustle job, that day job that's kind of keeping you afloat, having some income come in, what it really does is it takes that pressure off so that you can really explore and think through, what do I want to do creatively? Is it that I want to be an author? Is it that I want to act? Is it that I want to make films? For us, we make films. We have a video production company that kind of keeps us afloat and has money coming in. Right now we produce a lot of makeup videos, and the way that we got there was through just crazy relationships that we had made. But before that, I had to work day jobs. I had to get gear. I had to get experience under my belt, oftentimes working for free, doing music videos for friends, doing short films for people. When going to a client, when trying to make money as a creative, you need to have examples under your belt of, I've done this type of work before. Here are the examples. Here's what I did with nothing. So if you're already putting that pressure on your creativity to be your financial income stream, you're not going to have the space to figure out what your voice is in the creative space. Number 2, what is your niche? So as a creative, you kind of have to figure out what is the lane that you live in the most. Not that you can't explore more. For us in our video production company, we found that we live mostly within the beauty space, the beauty and fashion space, where I'd worked with several directors and producers who worked within the beauty space. They brought me on to shoot for their companies. Found that I had a really good attitude and a really good eye for that world. When they moved on to different beauty companies, they kind of brought us along. And so that has given us opportunities to work with companies like L'Oreal, Gwen Stefani's makeup company, Lady Gaga's makeup company. And so because we put 100% in when we were working with our friends, that word of mouth spread around and we were able to get more clients. Be very open-minded as to the doors that are opening. Perhaps you want to work in the fashion video space, but then as you're working, you're finding that the documentary doors are opening. Be willing to pivot and go where the work is, and you never know. That voice that you originally had in your head of, oh, this is my voice, this is what I want to do, it might translate really well to a different kind of genre of filmmaking. This can also be applied to writing or anything else you want to do creatively. Perhaps in painting you have a certain style that you want to follow and you feel like this is where your voice is, but as you're going, you're finding that audiences are connecting with a different type of artwork that you're doing. Maybe pivot and continue to try that type of artwork. And where you're finding that your audiences are finding your work interesting, that's where you can start to bring in the financial side, because you're building an audience, you're building a brand, you're building your niche. And so people are going to be interested in purchasing what you're putting out there or hiring you to do more work like that. Number 3, you need to just start. Recently, I was talking to a young student who was trying to figure out how to get into screenwriting and filmmaking. And they had a very set, specific thing they wanted to do. They wanted to do kind of Star Wars, sci-fi kind of stuff. And he was very particular on, this is the only type of script that I write. If you are wanting to become a writer, if you're wanting to become a screenwriter, really practice writing different genres so that you can kind of be a Swiss Army knife at writing. If a job pops up that's a romantic comedy, be able to have examples and work under your belt so you could jump in and possibly do a pass in a romantic comedy script. Be very versatile in what you can do instead of being so specific. I remember I told this student a story that I had heard about how John Carpenter, the famous director and writer who's amazing, would go into a pitch meeting and he would pitch a script that he would have. And the producers would say no, and then he'd walk back out to his car, open his trunk, and pull out another script, because he had all these different scripts in his trunk that he had written and stored up over the years, that he could just take the next script, walk in and pitch that one. And if they said no to that one, he'd go back and get another one. And that, for me, I think is a very good example of something that can be applied to anything you do creatively, is be willing to pivot and flow and have different options and examples. Don't hold it so tight that you're like, I have to do this exact one thing in this exact one way. way, because I can just tell you that does not work within a business setting. You are going to get clients that are going to tell you their opinions that you're going to have to change things on. And you have to be willing to find what is your way to pivot and work with the notes and feedback that you're getting. And if you're so rigid about something and so rigid about this is the only exact way, only exact thing I can do, you're going to struggle to turn your creativity into financial income. Number 4, chip away at it. You are going to look at your creativity and turning that into your job as this huge mountain to climb, and you're going to get exhausted, and you're going to have so many things in your head of, I need to do this, 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 and this, and you're going to get overwhelmed. I'm telling you, it happens to me. We recently put out a feature film in theaters across the country called Pastor's Kid. It's a movie I wrote and directed, and my wife helped write with me, and she produced, and basically partnered with a theatrical team to release the movie in 38 theaters across the country. Very exciting, very awesome. But it became this thing within a short amount of time, like a month or a month and a half leading up to the theatrical release. We had all of these things we had to check off the list to do. And a lot of it fell on my shoulders. A lot of it had to do with editing, sound, all of the technical stuff that nobody else really could help with. My wife helped with the contract stuff, which was awesome, but marketing fell on my shoulders. A lot of it fell on my shoulders. And I woke up completely overwhelmed every single day of how am I going to get this done? And what I would do is sit down at my desk, take a piece of paper, and I would write bullet points, a to-do list. This needs to get done. This needs to get done. This needs to get done. And every day I would check off a handful of things on those lists. The next day I would check off more handful. The next day I would check off more. At the end of that month and a half, we had a movie release in theaters, a feature film release in theaters nationwide that people could go buy tickets for. It was up on Fandango. Every piece of content, I'd go on Fandango and watch our trailer. I made that trailer. I'd look at that poster. I made that poster. I looked at the stills. I pulled those stills, and it was so exciting to see all of these things that were so overwhelming a month before or a month and a half before come to fruition, and the movie get out. It sound good. It looked good. People were buying tickets. We put a movie out in theaters, and to us, it was this huge mountain that you're like, we're never going to reach the top of Everest. We're never going to get there. But every day we took a little by little. Right now, I'm actually writing a novel, a dystopian teen novel I've wanted to write for a long time, but I have never just done it. And so I just started writing, and I'm churning out chapters every day, little by little, little by little, and it's building bigger and bigger and bigger. So my big suggestion is don't try to tackle the mountain in one day. What are the little things I'm going to chip away with? What are the feet that I'm going to get up this mountain today? Because eventually it'll turn into something bigger. I promise you that if I can do it, you can do it too. I promise you. But you have to stay motivated and you have to stay consistent. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of my rants about creativity, filmmaking, all of these things. And make sure to get off your butt and start making something this week. Start a little by little. Don't wait, just create.